Let's talk about paper one, question three. An extract from James Bond, Ian Fleming's Live and Let Die. Bond is in a neighborhood. He seems out of place, and these two men target Bond. They attempt to kill Bond by planting an explosive device. Luckily, Bond gets away. He just about survives, and it shows that he embraces this idea of enjoying survival. He takes pride in the fact that he's survived this attack. It seems as though Bond lives for these moments. In this extract that we looked at and we analyzed in class, we spoke about how Bond's presented as a character, how he reacts to the situation, and then we answered a question which was centered around this question: how has the writer structured the text to create tension and suspense? 8 marks, 12 minutes. You need to focus on the structure for question 3. What happens at the beginning, middle, end? What are the focus points? What is it that grabs your attention in this extract? You need to be selective and look at the sequencing of the extract, work out what is happening, and pick out the key moments, explain the effect of the structure in detail. This is a response that one of my students did. This was done within the time frame of 10 minutes, and improvements were made after some discussion. Let's read the transcripted version here. The text is structured to shift focus multiple times throughout the day to create different atmospheres at various points. The text is very fluid. At the beginning, the writer focuses mainly on the landscape, using long and descriptive sentences to express a sense of tranquility. The student starts off by describing the atmosphere, the way that it's built in the beginning, and also making references to the uses of the sentences, which is a structure technique. Ultimately, this gives the reader a false sense of security, as shown when the day is described as still beautiful. They embed the quote and start with this idea of perfection and beauty at the beginning of the extract. As the extract progresses, there is a shift in focus towards the two out-of-place men. In the middle section, the writer provides a close description of these men without revealing any specific features, maintaining an air of unfamiliarity and mystery. This lack of detail builds tension and suspense, effectively presenting the middle as the climax of the passage. The student starts off with the idea that there is a shift in focus towards these two men, these characters that draw our attention immediately. And they then link it back to how it creates this sense of something unfamiliar and the idea of mystery. They also reference the climax, so they're clearly expressing the structure in a coherent, in an effective way. They're showing really thoughtful ideas. So let's see how it progresses to the end. Nearer to the ending, the appearance of the bomb heightens the suspense, creating anticipation about what might happen next. Previously long and descriptive sentences are replaced by shorter, more direct ones, reflecting the high pace and intensity of the climax. Very good reference about how the structure is changing and why it's changing. So you need to mention the effect and why the writer's making those choices. This structural change mirrors the fast-moving and chaotic nature of the scene, contrasting sharply with the calm and extended descriptions from earlier in the text. They're making a really good reference back to what they mentioned earlier and developing on how the structure is changing and how the tension and suspense, it doesn't remain the same. If anything, it's constantly developing. And this is what they're getting across in their response, which is very thoughtful. The idea that Bond exerts a masculine dominance and a sense of control over the narrative is reinforced by the way the scene unfolds. Through the shift in focal points and sentence structure, the text moves from describing the explosion as it happens to focusing on how Bond handles the situation afterwards. Again, a very clear understanding of the narrative. But what this student can do here is embed more quotes to show they're working out. Finally, showing his composure and reinforcing his control. So despite those targets, as you can see, it's a very detailed, developed response to question 3. This will definitely score 7 to 8 marks, which is a grade 9 standard response. This is what we need to aim for, and consider again the sequence in which the extract is developing, which the story is developing, picking out the key moments, using the quotes and expanding on the effect of the structure features.